Well, Mr. President, you said that if the Supreme Court said someone needed to be returned, that you would abide by that. You said that on Air Force One just a few days ago, and they said that it must be facilitated.
Why don't you just say, isn't it wonderful that we're keeping criminals out of our country? Why can't you just say that? Why do you go over and over? And that's why nobody watches you anymore. You know, you have no credibility. Please, go ahead.
President Trump.
Yeah, we even had this gang member from Venezuela, one of the ones you sent, and we interviewed him just, to get some information, etc. from them. And he said, oh, well, I got arrested 6 times, but they released me the 6 times, so it should be released again. And then he said, well, but what's the last thing you do? And he said, well, I shot a cop in the leg, but I didn't kill him. I just shot him in the leg. And we're like, this guy was arrested 6 times here in the United States, 6 times. He was released 6 times. And in the he was released 5 times, and the last time he was sent to El Salvador, right? So he's not getting released. But the last time he shot a cop, actually, and he shot him in the leg. So these are, like you said, yeah. But there's something broken.
The liberal establishment, but they're not running things anymore in this country, and we're run by. And I don't say conservative. I don't say anything. We're run by people with great common sense.
Yeah, common sense.
Like CNN over here doesn't want to put them out because they don't like putting out good numbers. They only like putting out because I think they hate our country, actually.
Before I get to you, I just want to say, for the record, since we heard President Trump say in the Oval Office that CNN hates our country, CNN does not hate our country. That should go without saying. I've been here for 32 years, and I see a rhetorical device in him trying to say such a thing.
Begin this hour with the chaos.
The average American sees chaos. The American people see chaos.
It's total chaos. You brought chaos.
It's just complete chaos.
Unleashed an economic chaos.
They unleash chaos.
They are creating chaos.
This chaos.
There's too much chaos.
Total chaos.
That amidst the chaos,
we're going to see chaos.
After seeing all the chaos
he has unleashed on America.
Continue to see the chaos.
Economic chaos.
A lot more chaos.
Trump's chaos.
This is chaos with such chaos.
The chaos because of this chaos. Chaos.
All of this chaos.
Uncertainty and chaos.
Given all that chaos?
When it's chaos.
All the chaos.
Chaos and confusion grows.
More chaos, dysfunction.
The chaos is the purpose. The chaos is the goal.
It's chaos.
Democrat platform shaping up. Raise taxes, be easy on China, and don't cut government spending at all. The only thing we haven't talked about is the border. And tonight, Jahana Hayes, the congresswoman from Connecticut, is saying she regrets the vote for the Lake and Riley Act. I mean, Democrats have learned nothing from the last election, and that's where they head in the midterms right now.
Next.
At one point, we were walking through it is an amazing tour of the whole house. And I don't remember exactly what we were talking about, but it must have been something with the 2020 election, because I know he used the word lost. And I distinctly remember saying, wow, I never thought I'd hear you say that. He didn't get mad. He's much more self-aware than he lets on in public. Look, I get it. It doesn't matter who he is at a private dinner with a comedian. It matters who he is on the world stage. I'm just taking as a positive that this person exists, because everything I've ever not liked about him was, I swear to God, absent, at least on this night with this guy. Bob, Kid Rock, told me the night before, he said, if you want to get a word in edgewise, you're going to have to cut him off. He'll just go on. Not at all. I've had so many conversations with prominent people who are much less connected, people who don't look you in the eye, people who don't really listen because they just want to get to their next thing, people whose response to things you say just doesn't track, like, what? None of that with him. And he mostly steered the conversation to, what do you think about this? I know, your mind is blown, so's mine.
All right, Monday night, and we are live. Hope everybody's doing good. As always, be blessed in the mighty name of Jesus. You know, I said the show, I know I showed 3 UFC pregame videos. Just couldn't help it. Here's one of the reasons why. Is can you find any video of Joe Biden ever being like that? Can you find any video of Hussein Obama ever being like that? You know, and I could mention Republicans too, but yeah, I mean, I order just about every UFC card that comes down the pike. But have you ever seen anything like it? There's never a moment in all of the 4 years of Joe Biden that he ever had a moment like that. And this just shows you, and I don't mean to get into a big spiel on this, but it just shows you that anytime a Democrat wins a national election, it needs to be investigated, because they don't have the popularity. I mean, I don't know if you've ever been. I've only been to one live UFC event, and Brett and I were went there in Tampa, sold out, of course, Amalie Arena. But it is a montage of humanity. Would I say it leans right? It probably leans right, but it is an absolute, I don't know what the amalgam of humanity. It is a bunch of different types of people there, whether it's conservative, liberal, white, black, whatever it may be. There's just a lot of different demographics in that room. And just about every single person loves Trump and loves America. It was a Kobe Covington fight when we went to the one in Tampa, and he comes out with, I am a great American with Hulk Hogan. The place goes crazy. So, I mean, again, a Democrat cannot pull that off. A Democrat could not sell out those arenas. Of course, Trump could sell out every one. If Trump did a rally right now in the middle of his presidency, he would sell out. 70,000 people come and sell out in the middle of his presidency. So, I mean, those are just things. It just makes it almost, for me, impossible for me to believe that a Democrat actually wins an election like that. Aaron was talking about it. You saw, like, the Dominic Reyes fight. It's kind of hard to tell which one's Dominic Reyes because everybody in his corner looks just like him. They all look the same. They all have long black beards. And they all run. I mean, not only does Reyes do the golf swing in tribute to Trump, but then his entire team runs out to get a picture with Trump. What Democrat would demand that sort of attention? I mean, what Democrat would anybody, I mean, name one right now. Swallows Well? You wouldn't let your daughter within 1,000 yards of Swallows Well. So, I mean, what Democrat would anybody run up to take a picture with? Ilhan Omar? AOC? I mean, I'm trying to, whether you go old school with Schumer, with Pelosi, Jasmine Crockett. I mean, they're all repulsive human beings. And Donald Trump, who they all call repulsive, draws people to me. A walkout for a politician? He walks out. He has a fighter style walkout, and it's louder for him than any of the fighters. I mean, again, it absolutely amazes me that people don't understand the power of the Trump presidency. I mean, they have no idea what they're dealing with. They have no idea, and it's not worship for any person. It's the reason why Trump resonates with everybody because of his ideas. If he had crappy ideas, everyone would boo him. People love what he's doing. They absolutely love it. Let me say it to everybody in the chat. Let me see. Kathy Mardit is on. Just Jesse's on. Mike Griffith's on. Dave Souders is on. Lady Vu is on. Gertrude is on. JD Joy 25 is on. Hanslick Donovan is on. Scooter 8887 is on. Peace Us is on. TJT1 is on. Supergirl 21 is on. Richard Perry 49 is on. Milwaukee James is on. Judy Anita is on. Robin Neroni is on. John Phillips is on. Milwaukee James is on. Waterline 46 is on. Bill F1 is on. Big Scott 1 is on. Scrolling up. Those Jesus people is on. All right, let me see. Producer Aaron's on. General Plowman is on. USA Abbey Girl is on. Alaska Man 1165 is on. Nate Dad 1 is on. Talked to him yesterday in church. Granted 2468 is on. Talked to him yesterday in church. Let me see here. Anybody else I missed? I'm scrolling up because I went so long. Everyone scrolled to the bottom. Maybe scroll back to the bottom here. Peg McGroin is on. Hector Antonio is on. All right, love you guys. Appreciate each and every one of you. So let me just show you this. You guys can just side by side this one when you get a chance. Johnny Midnight video. President Trump authorizes our military to take over public land along the border. This is unbelievable. I mean, this is so great. Donald Trump is taking back America, closing down America. You're like, well, I thought the border's already closed, 95%. I guess Donald Trump is now going to go for the last 5% of public land that's not, I guess, covered with either wall or with military or with CBP or regular patrols. Whatever it may be, Donald Trump is taking over. President Trump authorized our military to take over public land along the border. So it's land that's owned by the government, whatever it may be, and he's just taking it back. More and more security at the border. Let's go to the next one. Eric Doherty video, just in, 2 American citizens from Fox News, and this is why we are securing the border. Get this, it's still happening. Still happening. You just don't hear it very often now. And keep in mind, as you're watching this video, it's 2 American citizens arresting for trying to smuggle 2 little girls across the border. Joe Biden just let them come across 400,000 of these little kids. Imagine again, you're like, Tom, you always say this. Imagine being a Democrat. You, again, literally, I mean it. I know I've said this 3 or 4 times already. Get up every single day. Don't even let your feet hit the floor of your bed. Swing over and go right to your knees and look up at your God and say, the one true God, Jesus, and say, Lord Jesus, I just thank you. I mean this, by the way. I mean it. Thank you, Lord, that I'm not as stupid as a Democrat. See, I mean, pray it give God the praise that he's due. That you're not as dumb as a Democrat. Because they just let this happen for 4 years, 400,000 kids that we know of. That doesn't count gotaways and everybody that crossed the border that we're not aware of. These are the documented cases, so it could be 800,000. It could be 1.2 million. We have no idea. Joe Biden just let them all cross. Alejandro Mayorkas, the border czar, Kamala Harris, all just let them cross the border. 100,000 go missing per year that we know of. Here was a couple that were caught today. Play for me.
This is truly disturbing. This pair of arrests were made at our southern border just days ago. Border Patrol believes that these 2 women, these 2 American citizens, both of them, tried to smuggle 2 little girls across the border. They were nabbed at a checkpoint in Westmoreland, California. The 10 and 12-year-old girls from Mexico, asleep in the back seat. But the agents quickly realized that these were not their children. These were not their relatives. Nothing matched on the names or IDs as they scanned for information on these individuals. These women face smuggling charges, and it happened at the El Centro border sector of the border.
How dare they separate them? I mean, that's what we've heard. Again, that's the Democratic Party platform. Leave them with those women. Because just remember that on day one of the Biden administration, they removed the DNA testing at the border. The DNA testing at the border was if you showed up with a child, you got a DNA test with the child to see if you are in fact a relative with the child. Why would they get rid of that? Because they want to sex traffic children. They want to labor traffic children. That's why. What's the reason for no voter ID? Why would you ever not want voter ID? For voter fraud. There's no other way around it. They just voted, the entire Democratic Party just voted against the SAVE Act, which requires voter ID and proof of citizenship. I mean, again, there's no reason for it. So why would you remove DNA testing at the border? Because you want to leave the child with their sex trafficking handler, which is what was going on. Just because these are women don't mean that they're not into sex trafficking. There's millions upon billions of dollars to be made. And the facilitators are Catholic Family Services and Jewish Family Services in the Darien Gap, being funded by you and I through USAID and numerous other funding sources inside of the federal government, so that Democrats can enrich themselves by running these organizations. But anyway, so these two kids, I mean, what the Democrats, why are they not coming out today and saying, how dare you separate these kids from their family? Because I guarantee you the women said they're their aunt. How dare you do that? Remember AOC versus Tom Homan before she got absolutely humiliated on national television by Tom Homan by claiming that crossing the border illegally is not a crime, when then he read the statute that is in fact a crime. And the same thing happened on Scott Jennings' show the other day with the host of that show saying it wasn't a crime. Again, just like they say the Charlottesville thing over and over again. Just like they say the Russian bounty thing over and over again. Just like they say the collusion hoax over and over again, even though all of it's been debunked. So I'm just wondering where all the Democrats are at today saying, how dare you separate these kids? Imagine being a Democrat, that you were in favor of walking up to that car and those two women trafficking 9-year-olds sleeping in the back. And those two women say, we're their aunts. And you go, oh, okay. That's what it means to be a Democrat. That's what it means to be a Democrat today and yesterday and in the future. All right, George video. Holy moly, Stephen Miller. Now, this is still the Kilmar Abrego Garcia, henceforth on the TLB podcast tonight, just going to call him Garcia. This is the Garcia case, which is still being litigated in the court of public opinion because of the mainstream media wanting to re-import. Imagine that. This is what it means to be a Democrat in 2025. You hate getting rid of waste, fraud, and abuse. You love to lop off penises, testicles, and breasts of 12-year-olds. You love all of that. You love to slaughter the unborn. That's what it means to be a Democrat. And you love waste, fraud, and abuse. And you love importing problems that we've deported. Isn't that great? I mean, that's what it means to be a Democrat. You actually want to re-import a deported MS-13 member and illegal alien. So here's a great summation from Stephen Miller in the Oval Office in a press conference today. Today is part of the Bukele press conference. George video. Play it for me.
Would you answer that question also, please?
Yes. So, as Pam mentioned, there's an illegal alien from El Salvador. So, with respect to you, he's a citizen of El Salvador. So, it's very arrogant even for American media to suggest that we would even tell El Salvador how to handle their own citizens as a starting point. As 2 immigration courts found that he was a member of MS-13. When President Trump declared MS-13 to be a foreign terrorist organization, that meant that he was no longer eligible under federal law, which I'm sure you know, you're very familiar with the INA, that he was no longer eligible for any form of immigration relief in the United States. So he had a deportation order that was valid, which meant that under our law, he's not even allowed to be present in the United States and had to be returned because of the foreign terrorist designation. This issue was then, by a district court judge, completely inverted, and a district court judge tried to tell the administration that they had to kidnap a citizen of El Salvador and fly him back here. That issue was raised to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said the district court order was unlawful, and its main components were reversed 9-0 unanimously, stating clearly that neither Secretary of State nor the President could be compelled by anybody to forcibly retrieve a citizen of El Salvador from El Salvador, who again is a member of MS-13, which, as I'm sure you understand, rapes little girls, murders women, murders children, is engaged in the most barbaric activities in the world, and I can promise you, if he was your neighbor, you would move right away.
So you don't plan to ask for him to get him back?
And what was the ruling in the Supreme Court, Steve? Was it 9-0?
Yes, it was a 9-0.
In our favor.
In our favor, against the district court ruling, saying that no district court has the power to compel the foreign policy function of the United States. As Pam said, the ruling solely stated that if this individual, at El Salvador's sole discretion, was sent back to our country, that we could deport him a second time. No version of this legally ends up with him ever living here because he is a citizen of El Salvador. That is the president of El Salvador. Your questions about it for the court can only be directed to him.
I asked President Bukele weigh in on this? Do you plan to...
So going back to front on this, there's actually another interview with Stephen Miller on the outside of the White House, and he says to the reporters, what exactly are you shooting for here? What do you think the outcome is going to be for Abrego Garcia? Because they're all just pining. And again, it's just wasted effort. Just a waste of time, waste of false virtue signaling. Which is what, I guess, it's always a waste to virtue signal falsely or to virtue signal at all. But he asked him what exactly, I'm going back to front on this. If he comes back, what do you think is going to happen? He's going to move back to Maryland and resume his life? Is that what you think, Democrats? He's going to move back and do his life in Maryland because all the Democrats, which I'm going to show you in a minute, call him the Maryland man, the father from Maryland. That's what they call him all the time. What do you think is going to happen to him? Even if, and now it's all, everyone needs to understand something, it's all up to Bukele now. He's living in El Salvador. And Bukele said to him, we could have done an entire show on this press conference alone. But Bukele said, what do you want me to do, smuggle him back in as an illegal? Imagine this. He'd have to re-immigrate, get this, Aaron, illegally back into the country. That's what it means to be a Democrat. That's what you're an advocate for as a Democrat in 2025. So in order for Bukele to send him back, he would have to illegally migrate or smuggle him across the border. You have to hire a coyote. Yeah. Or maybe you can get one of Biden's flights and $150,000 a pop. Although those have all been canceled now. The CBP1 app has been turned into a go home app. So what do you think is going to happen? What would happen? And I'm just summarizing what Stephen Miller said. Is that he would be immediately if he showed up in America, be remanded into ICE custody and then deported to El Salvador. No, that's the mistake, Tom. There was a withholding order. The withholding order no longer exists. The withholding order was, get this now, now we're back in order here. He's an illegal. Aaron, that's clear, right?
Yep.
He's illegal. He's illegal. Entered the country illegally.
Correct.
In 2012, illegally. The Maryland man. Okay. As an MS-13 member, it's been proven that it's what he is. Regardless of that, though, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether he's MS-13. It doesn't matter whether he's 13 MS. It doesn't matter what he is. It doesn't matter if he's nothing. He's here, excuse me, illegally and be deported at any time.
Yep.
Simple. So there's nothing else to discuss. I mean, what are you, as a Democrat, what are you advocating for? You're advocating for somebody who illegally crossed our border to stay. Simple as that. Say it out loud. So anyway, that doesn't matter. But he's also designated as a foreign terrorist because he's an MS-13 member falling under the act that Donald Trump is using. But it doesn't matter anyway. Donald Trump doesn't need that act either. The Foreign Enemies Whatever Act from 17 whatever. He doesn't need that either. He's an illegal alien. Doesn't matter. But anyway, we'll use it, whatever, because it works at the time. He's an MS-13 member. They've been designated a foreign terrorist group. So he's being deported under that order. So, but people say, well, he had a withholding order. So, and who was it that screwed up the form? Who screwed up the form was a Biden administration official, probably on purpose. Somebody that was hired under the Biden administration, a deep state actor, is the one who put Guatemala on there instead of El Salvador. So there was an administrative error because the withholding order said that he could not be deported. He could be to El Salvador. He could be deported anywhere else on the globe except El Salvador. So the Democrats' hopes and dreams that it was an illegal deportation. It wasn't an illegal deportation. It was a violation of a withholding order that no longer exists. So it's a violation of nothing because the withholding order was that he couldn't be sent to El Salvador because of the 8th Street MS-13 gang. Does that exist anymore? No, Bukele has wiped out every ounce of crime in El Salvador. safer to be in El Salvador than France now. And I found out, Aaron, because Aaron and I were talking about it, the Americans are going down there and buying a bunch of land. Americans are moving down to El Salvador in droves right now, or buying property in El Salvador on their beautiful beaches.
Yeah.
Safer there than it is in France. You could be accosted by Al Qaeda at any moment. You ever seen that? You ever seen well, we've played them on the podcast numerous times. You ever seen the videos of downtown Paris? Woof. Again, that's almost like a game show. Survival. Whether you ever go to France or not, you're taking your survival in your own hands. So this man has no reason to stay here. There's no legal reason for him to stay here, but even if they did bring him here, he's just going to be deported again and back to El Salvador because the withholding order no longer applies. Imagine being dumb enough to advocate for an illegal who's been deported to his home country to be re-imported into America as an MS-13 member so that he can be detained and then deported again to the exact same location he's currently at. That's what it means to be a Democrat. That's why nothing ever gets accomplished. I mean, again, it's a perfect synopsis. It's a perfect embodiment of Washington, D.C. You deported him wrong. Let's re-import him so we can deport him again. That's why we're $37 trillion in debt. Nothing ever gets done because it's an endless symbiote circle bleep, and nothing ever actually gets accomplished, except for a bunch of Democrats and fake Republicans marching around with their noses in the air, acting like they have virtue. So let's go to the next one. Dave Darkin's video. MS-13 is melting down over the friendly relationship between Bukele and Trump. Play for me.
Yamiche, I think we need to say that President Bukele, even when asked about a return, compared a possible return of Garcia to smuggling him into the country. What more came out of that meeting and that, as often is the case now, impromptu press conference in the Oval Office?
Well, this is really a remarkable exchange between President Trump and President Bukele of El Salvador. The two men were very clear and on the same page. So you can see that they have a very warm relationship, and we're really echoing a lot of the same things. The president saying that he did not believe that he needed to go and retrieve this Maryland man, that he is believing that he's a member of MS-13.
This Maryland man. And you wonder why nobody watches MSNBC or CNN. This Maryland man who illegally entered into the country as an MS-13 member in 2012 has a current deportation order. And withholding order, remember, it's still it's a deportation order for any country in the world. He can be deported to any country in the world outside of El Salvador because it had a withholding order. That's now gone, but he's had a deportation order since at least 2019. And she calls him a Maryland man? You wonder why nobody votes for you? Oh, we just won the SCOTUS race in Wisconsin. That was a giant fraudulent election. Another state where they can just amass votes in the middle of the night in the city of Milwaukee and other Democratic Party strongholds. You see how they are? Maryland man. How is he a Maryland man? He was born in El Salvador. He illegally immigrated 13 years ago. How is he a Maryland man? I mean, just imagine how lacking in all integrity you have to be that sort of Democratic Party prognosticator, Democratic Party propagandist. You're just going to, call him a Maryland man, just like we played in the pregame. Make sure you say chaos, and they all just do it. You're just a little stooge. You're a little puppet with somebody's hand up your anal puppet chute. Say this, say that. Imagine existing like that. That's what it means to be a Democrat. All right, Dave, let's go to Doge. Doge designer video. Breaking U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi announced that an arrest has been made in connection with the attack on a Tesla dealership. This is number 2. Play for me.
There's some breaking news moments ago out of New Mexico. Federal charges have been filed against 40-year-old Jamison Wagner. He's an Albuquerque resident, and it's in connection with recent arson attacks targeting a Tesla dealership. You might remember back in February, investigators found 2 Tesla vehicles on fire in the parking lot outside of a Tesla showroom in New Mexico. They also found graffiti spray painted onto the wall, some of that saying Nazi, saying ICE equals KKK. Here's a picture of the guy. They had good surveillance footage of him, the feds say. 5 to 6 vehicles in the parking lot were hit. We're told that Wagner will remain in federal custody pending a detention hearing. And Sandra, it kind of reminds you of that similar case in Las Vegas with the firebombing. They got that guy.
Yep.
He's looking at serious prison time. And Pam Bondi at DOJ, the AG, is saying if we catch you guys doing this, there's no plea deals. We're going to try to put you behind bars for 20 years.
Yeah, just reading through this, the statement that came out, the Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche saying hurling firebombs is not political protest. It's a dangerous felony that will prosecute to the maximum extent. And Pam Bondi saying let this be a final lesson to those that are taking place and taking part in this wave of political violence that is out there. Quite a message.
Yeah, and no plea deals. So if they're...
See, and again, going back to front, the Democratic Party line now, and it was actually encouraged on TV by Democrats. The Democratic Party line is, and this is what it means to be a Democrat in 2025. Right there. That's you. That's you. If you're a Democrat, you happen to be watching, that's you. I mean, this is the living embodiment of what it means to be a Democrat in 2025. But you had what I think was Jimmy Kimmel. He encouraged it. He encouraged this guy to firebomb because he's like, don't vandalize any Teslas. Because the Democratic Party line, just like Maryland, man, see how it all lines up. See how it all parallels how all their different lines parallel themselves. Because he's a Maryland man who's an MS-13 member with a deportation order who's an illegal immigrant. That's a Maryland man. This is a political protester, a guy who uses Molotov cocktails to blow up other people's cars. That's what it means to be a Democrat in 2025. You call that a political protest. Mnuchin had to say, Pam Bondi's making this clear to everybody that we don't consider this to be a political protest. Imagine having to make that clear. That's how deranged and delusional and repulsive the Democratic Party is now. It used to be, just be us versus them with abortion, us versus them with the size of government and taxation, whatever it may be, a little bit of socialism versus federalism, whatever it may be. Now it's absolute evil, firebombing Tesla dealerships to the place where Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, saying no plea bargains. You realize that every single case in the federal system is actually resolved via plea bargain. That's what they do because they stack so many charges against people that, and I hate the federal system because it's a joke and it's corrupt, but hopefully not under Trump, but it has been. Stack so many charges, people have to take a plea deal. She's going, no plea deals. We're just sending you to prison for 20 years. It's that bad. But what's even worse is that you have to somehow translate to Democrats that firebombing vehicles is not quote unquote political speech. Just like deporting somebody orchestrating Hamas rallies, that person doesn't deserve a green card. You have to tell a Democrat that these days. That a person who's orchestrating Hamas rallies, anti-American rallies, and harassing Jewish students doesn't deserve a green card. You actually have to somehow communicate that to a Democrat these days. All right, go to the next one for me. Ian Yeager tweet. Breaking, the Trump administration notifies Congress that they plan to eliminate all public broadcasting funding per NYP. This is great. This is great. Buy PBS, buy NPR. Why do we sit here and pay for Goebbels? Why would, again, if I would still not be in favor of any sort of public communication funding, but if it were, then it'd have to be 50-50. 50% conservative, 50% liberal. What is PBS? 100% liberal. What is NPR? 100% liberal. Another basically NGO used to funnel our taxpayer money to fund Democrats. PBS, NPR are basically NGOs that are given hundreds of millions of dollars throughout the years so that they can be fully staffed by Democrats, and all the Democrats that are working there can make 6- and 7-figure salaries. That's what it is. Just like the Kennedy Center. Do you realize the Kennedy Center has been taken over by Rick Grinnell, and that it's turning a profit now for the first time. I wonder why that is. Didn't turn a profit at all, losing millions upon hundreds of millions of dollars every year under the Biden administration, and Rick Grinnell's turned it around in 8 weeks. It's amazing. To be a Democrat, how do you look yourself in the mirror? Just using the Kennedy Center, because it's in this realm right here. Why does the federal government fund a theater? Why? Why are we funding a theater? Do you care that you can go see Les Miserables there? And basically all it's been is a trans drag show venue for the last 4 years, hemorrhaging tens of millions of dollars per year, while the person, Aaron and I, we put it on the podcast, we listed the salaries on there. The person who's like the head of this thing gets a 7-figure salary to run it.
Yeah.
As it hemorrhages millions upon tens of millions of dollars. It's like we don't need a post office either. Why do we have a post office? Why? It just loses tens of millions of dollars. We have all the private entities we need to send whatever it is that we need. These days, who writes letters anyway? Nobody. So anyway, these things all need to be canceled. And just back to the Kennedy Center, it's just amazing that as a Democrat, you say that your party is effectual. How are you effectual? You hemorrhage millions upon millions of dollars for 4 years, claiming that it can't be fixed, just like the border. And in comes Trump, and in comes Grinnell and fixes it in 2 months. And the border was fixed in 3 days. Again, what is it? I mean, how do you look yourself in the mirror as a Democrat? All right, let's go to a little bit more Doge here. Fox News tweet. Dem states to blame. What a shock. To blame for most of the nearly $400 million in unemployment fraud over the last 4 years. Doge says, Elon Musk at the bottom. There is vastly more than 400 million in unemployment fraud, to be clear. That's just the amount calculated from payments to people who are impossibly young and definitely dead. Sounds like a song. Impossibly young and definitely dead. Because $400 million has been given to Democratic Party states so that kids ages 1 to 5 could receive unemployment benefits. That was exactly what was happening. Well, and the Democrats will claim it can't be fixed. It's a quagmire of government inefficiency. Funny how it's being fixed. It's all being fixed in a matter of a couple months. And if we were actually let off the chain, Musk would have it all fixed in 2025. If we were actually allowed to cut what we wanted to cut, and you didn't have Norm Eisen and Reid Hoffman behind the scenes and Mark Elias behind the scenes filing lawsuits and funding lawsuits to stop Doge, this whole thing, we would basically have no waste, fraud, or abuse at the end of 2025. It'd be finished. But the Democrats, why do you vote against the SAVE Act, which requires voter ID and proof of citizenship? Because you want voter fraud. Why did you remove the DNA system at the border so that kids can be tested to see if the adult they are with is actually a relative? Why would you want that removed? Because you want sex trafficking. Why is it that you don't want Doge? Because you want the corruption because you're getting rich off of it. It's like Elon Musk back and forth with Schumer. He had finally just said to Schumer, seems like it's not really odd how you're putting up such a protest. I'm starting to assume that maybe you're on the take yourself. Because our entire system, probably in yours and my lifetime, has been our tax dollars used to form entities called NGOs or anything you want to call them, which do absolutely nothing but pay Democrats to facilitate a small amount of money. Just as an example, they'll receive $10 billion, and out of the $10 billion, they'll give $2 million away and pay themselves the rest. That's what our country is right now, until it's fixed. And Donald J. Trump is trying to fix it, which is why I call him the greatest president in history. Let's go to the next one. Rock of Ohio video. Chelsea Clinton. Here's something for Doge to look into. Play it for me.
Chelsea Clinton got $84 million from U.S. taxpayers' money. She receives an annually recurring funding allocated by Obama for her foundation, which provides afternoon meals to children in Africa, India, and Bangladesh. However, as of today, the reported number of meals served stands at 11,886, implying an astonishing cost of $1,410 per meal. Now, Chelsea Clinton's net worth is $70 million. Her husband's net worth is $45 million. Inheritance, $52 million. USAID earnings, $3.9 million. Her real estate assets are $25 million. Her monthly spendings are $100,000. She also has 8 cars. Don't know what business she done, she got to much wealth. Our hard-earned money is just going to other countries on unnecessary things, which is robbed by their politicians. So we should care first our fellow Americans who need help, or should continue spending on others. What do you guys think? Let me know.
This is the Clinton way, and this is the NGO way, and the end of the video says our money is going to other countries. Get this, Aaron, get this, Brent. They're not going to get this, everybody who's watching. It's not going to other countries. It's not going to other countries at all. This is the perfect embodiment. What it is, this money is being given to NGOs in the name of other countries, like USAID. The name is, people always think it's US aiding another country. It's got nothing to do with aid. It's International Agency for International Development. It's got nothing to do with aiding anything. United States Agency for International Development. Everyone thinks it's USAID, like Farm Aid back in the day. Nothing to do with that. This is the perfect example right here for little Chelsea Clinton's foundation that feeds kids their lunches every day. No, that's interesting. Because she gets $84 million annually per year to feed kids their lunches. Right? Feeds kids their lunches. Their midday meals is what it said. So they're midday meals. So she gets $84 million. She herself is worth $70 million. Aaron, can you name anything that Chelsea Clinton's ever done that would earn her even $100,000?
No.
No, either can I. What has she ever done? I mean, can anybody name what her job is? Her job is just like every other Democrat in this country. Her job is to work for an NGO that's taxpayer funded, that has an alleged cause or an agenda that they never actually do. Oh, no, they do feed. It says they fed kids 11,000 meals. 11,000 meals for $84 million? $84 million annually? And each meal costs $1,400? And again, how do you look at yourself in the mirror as a Democrat and want this to continue? Because it's Chelsea Clinton? And it's not just Democrats, it's rhino Republicans also, like Mitt Romney. Are any of these people actually independently wealthy? Or did you and I make them wealthy via our taxpayer dollars being funneled through NGOs to their false causes, like feeding kids? $1,400 a day to feed kids? 100,000 homes were supposed to be built in Haiti, and they built 6 for millions upon billions of dollars. It's absolute. I mean, and again, a Democrat, you just want this to continue. And Chelsea Clinton spends $100K a month on what? She's possibly spend $100,000 a month and has 8 vehicles. Imagine they're all electric, right? So you can form another NGO in the name of climate change, and you put up a windmill every other month for $7 billion a windmill. So they do. I mean, again, it's just like what was it? For the rural online services. Remember that one?
Yeah.
How many billions of that? I can't remember how many billions that was.
It's like 80 something.
Yeah,
86.
$86 billion for that or something along those lines. Maybe it was $8 billion. I don't remember. But it was billions.
Yeah.
All right. And I get that confused with the electric car charging stations too. I can't remember the numbers in each one, but it was billions for both and nothing was ever done. 7 electric car stations. So it costs like $70 million per charging station. And then they never actually put any rural online services anywhere. So where did those billions of dollars go? Nobody has any idea.
Yeah, 18
billion for which one?
For the internet bill.
All right, so $18 billion to put for rural internet services. Starlink costs $160 a month.
Yeah.
And basically like $200 to hook up. You need $18 billion for that? And then how many people were actually hooked up? None.
0.
At least they actually did build 7 electric car charging stations for however many. I think that was $8 billion. They had $8 billion, 8 with a B, billion dollars for electric car charging station, and they built 7 of them. So they cost over $1 billion each. Well, Tom, that must mean there's money left over. No, it's still gone. Where did it go? I mean, do we wonder how it is that these politicians make $174,000 a year and they're worth $30 million? How Chelsea Clinton is worth $70 million, who's never worked a day in her life? That's the reason why. And then we get this, of course. This is what you and I get. And they just continue on. And again, it's just amazing to me that you'll continue to spend at deficit levels when it will destroy you along with everybody else. So they act like they're going to be exempt from their own economic destruction as they spend us into oblivion. All right, you can bring it back to me. All right, let's go to the next one. Insurrection Barbie tweet. Since its inception, George Soros' Open Society Foundation has given Democrat NGOs and candidates $32 billion. 32 with a B billion dollars. Can you imagine that? And there's a big investigation right now into the Orlando district attorney because she's refusing to prosecute any cases. Aaron, can you guess who put her into power?
Soros?
Yeah, of course. She refuses to prosecute any cases. So Orlando descends into criminal hell because the Soros prosecutor won't prosecute any crimes. So there's a massive outbreak of crime so they can come and confiscate your firearms. That's the point of it. Look at all this crime. Nobody can be trusted with firearms now because of all this crime. Well, we're not committing the crime. The people that you refuse to prosecute with guns, who aren't even allowed to have guns, are the reason there's a crime wave. Not legal gun owners, but no, it was massive crime. So we need to confiscate everybody's weapons and have you run to the government for protection. $32 billion to Democratic Party NGOs and candidates. All right, go to the next one for me. Alex tweet. Just wanted to show you the stats on this. The U.S. House has voted to pass the SAVE Act requiring proof of citizenship to vote. That sounds like wouldn't you have to be a citizen to vote in that country's election? Do you realize there's not one other country on the planet where you can vote in their election without being a citizen? Not one. Not even France. You have to actually be a citizen. But not in our country. Anybody can vote. And Joe Biden has been caught handing out 5 million that we know of Social Security numbers during his administration. Two illegals so they can register to vote. So in this vote, you have, you know what? I was wrong. See how that works, everybody? All COVID caving pastors? That's how it works. And COVID caving Christians, remember how you're advocating for masks and lockdowns and quarantines? You never have quite ever come out and said you were wrong, and now you act like you were right the whole time? Yeah. You're like, Tom, get over it. Nope, God doesn't get over it until repentance, so neither will I.
Yep.
I emulate God because I'm a Christian. But anyway, so I was wrong. 4 Democrats actually voted for the SAVE Act. 4. 208 out of 212 voted against it. So why would you ever vote against being required to prove that you're a citizen to vote in that country's election? So to summarize, why would you ever vote against having to prove that you are in fact a United States citizen to vote in the United States elections? But you, as a Democrat, you vote against it. What are the reasons why? Can you just explain to me the reasons why? Please don't hand me the crap about how married women can't prove who they are, via their birth certificate or whatever. I mean, come on. They've been getting IDs from day one. Just because their name has changed, everybody can prove who they are and where they were born. That is not a problem. You know, it's very easy to prove who you were. You have a marriage license that shows the change of name. It's not hard. The Democrats will say and do anything so that they can win elections using illegal immigrants to do so. All right, let's go next one. DC Drano tweet. Kind of crazy the Arizona Democrats needed a lawsuit to force them to remove. Why would you not? 50,000 non-citizens from the voter rolls. Tell me why you wouldn't. I mean, if you're a Democrat, maybe you've stumbled on this, maybe on Rumble or CTN. If you're on CTN right now, and you're watching this, or you're just a limp-wristed, weak Republican, rhino Republican, fake COVID caving, mask-wearing Republican, just send me. I would love to know why it is that you would, as a Democrat, would not want to remove 50,000 non-citizens from the voter rolls. Since it's illegal, it's actually a crime for them to vote. Explain to me. I would love to hear your explanation, because this is what it means to be a Democrat in 2025. You just voted against the SAVE Act. You had to have a court order ordering you to remove 50,000 non-citizens off the voter rolls. How did Donald Trump lose Arizona in 2020, which he didn't, by 11,000 votes? How did he lose it? Well, right here. This in 2024 is just too big to rig. Donald Trump won basically every state but 3 or 4. Because the only states that Kamala, give it to me, Aaron.
Kamala Harris.
The only states she won were states that don't require voter ID at all.
Yeah.
But this is who we're up against, says DC Drano. Democrats will cheat any way they can, whether it's with illegal aliens voting or shutting down half the election machines on election day in Republican areas of Maricopa County. Subtweet on the bottom from Scott Pressler. Breaking. All 15 Arizona counties have begun the process of verifying and removing non-citizens from the voter rolls via a court order. It had to be court ordered to do so. You'd think you'd volunteer to do so because these people are not eligible to vote. That must mean you want people not eligible to vote to vote. It's simple as that. Why would you remove the DNA system at the border? Because you want to sex traffic children. It's none of it is complicated. Let's go to the next one. Carly Bonet video. I'm just jumping around all over the place right now. So you had the whole space flight with Katy Perry and Gail King. They all flew into space. Aaron, can you side by side that photo so everyone knows what I'm talking about? So they all flew into space. These astronauts were basically they're chimpanzees being rocketed into space, floating up there for 2 seconds and coming down. Basically like a bungee ride at a carnival. So they're really not, and they label themselves astronauts. Because they're very, very, Democrats are very big on celebrating themselves. You know, they always have all these awards for themselves all the time. They have these banquets, and they all march up. They all want to be labeled this or labeled that, given an award for this from an organization they themselves created. There they all are, in their spacesuits. Look at us all in our spacesuits. We're all heroes, just like the astronauts that were rescued by a real hero named Elon Musk. So we're going to try to make ourselves equal with that. Just like you're going to put a mask on so you feel like a lifesaver. For the first time in your life, I'm a lifesaver. Look at me save lives. Look at my virtue. Gaze upon it as I wear not one, not two, but 2 masks and an N95 and a spit shield because I'm saving your life. That's who these idiots are. All right, so let's go to the video. Carly Bonet video. It really wasn't space. Play it for me.
I kind of feel ripped off by this Katy Perry space mission. I really thought this team was going to be in space for a substantial amount of time, not 2 minutes. This was the trip. This is the space that Katy Perry just went into. Look, it wasn't even space. It was the edge of space. I mean, I hate to be a hater. I wouldn't have done this. I would have said, no, I'm not going. But they were there for a second. And I'm a Katy Perry lover, not a hater. Katy Perry, probably one of my #1 crushes ever, till this day. But she tweeted out, I love you. Like, she was going really up there, like all the way up there where those astronauts just got stuck. But no, this was just a simple little trip. It was like roller coaster, you know the roller coasters that they have at the fair that are like small for kids? That's what they did. I just feel a little ripped off, that's it. Just a little, I forgot it was happening. I heard, oh, they're going up to space. I was like, oh, they'll be up there for a little bit. I was planning on making a TikTok that was like, Katy Perry's in space right now. I had a 2-minute window. So
here's the only problem with their space flight. They were never in space. That's #1. And then that's the end of it. And then what's really great, I don't know why I didn't. I don't know why I didn't. There's a hysterical video of Jeff Bezos running around, whatever you call that thing, a module, and he falls down. It's hysterical. Aaron, see if you can find it.
I'm looking.
Yeah, Aaron's looking right now. So, I mean, you find it. He goes, Jeff Bezos, oh, look at me. I sent all these women astronauts into space. And he falls flat on his freaking face. This is great. I want to be Elon Musk. I want to be Elon. You're not, dude. You're not. You're just a sad, pathetic man trying to emulate the incarnation of Tony Stark, which is Elon Musk. It's not going to happen. All right, let's go to the next one, Aaron. When you find it, we'll put it up if you do find it. All right, let's go to the next one. Davery Darkin's video. So Dana Bash responds to Trump saying that CNN hates America. Play it for me.
We have heard a lot of bits of information, a lot of news nuggets that we want to definitely focus on, a lot of some misinformation as well. But we want to digest all of this right now with our terrific panel here and our reporters. Jeff Zeleny, I want to start with you. You are at the White House. Before I get to you, I just want to say, for the record, since we heard President Trump say in the Oval Office that CNN hates our country, CNN does not hate our country. That should go without saying. I've been here for 32 years, and I see a rhetorical device in him trying to say such a thing. That said, I want to focus on the news that we heard.
So let me ask you this question before we even get into this about hating America. You notice how she says we had a long press conference with Bukele and Trump, and there's a lot of news nuggets for us to deal with and some information and some misinformation in there too. Did she ever say comment after a Biden press conference, even though he rarely did them, that there was any misinformation? So again, she removes from herself, Dana Bash removes from herself all veneers of being impartial. Because not one time in the history of her career has she ever claimed that any Democratic Party dissertation had any misinformation in it. But of course, every time Trump speaks, she has to put in the little statement that there's some misinformation in what Trump said without actually naming what the misinformation is, because there wasn't any misinformation. Oh, well, you really can't prove, though, that CNN hates America. Really? Bill D'Agostino video would contradict that. Play it for me.
Here's a breaking news. We live in a racist, sexist, homophobic, Islamophobic, anti-Semitic country.
Everything they're doing runs against making America great. Well, it was never great, so I'm not going to say the again part, but making America great.
Kicking off the Independence Day weekend, President Trump will be at Mount Rushmore, where he'll be standing in front of a monument of 2 slave owners and on land wrestled away from Native Americans, told that be focusing on the effort to, quote, tear down our country's history.
They strongly believe, these human smugglers, that this is their chance to enter the United States. This is their chance at the American dream. That's why they risk everything, only to find out that it's all a lie.
And when we got our freedom, our quote-unquote freedom, we were never restored whole, which is why you hear about reparations. So until the United States atones for that and makes good on that, we're still living in a racist country.
Oh, so I think we can all just go along with what Trump said. And that is, and agree with Donald Trump, that CNN hates America because they obviously do. And of course, Dana Bash's husband at the time, but ex-husband was one of the key orchestrators of the Hunter Biden laptop CIA hoax, where it was a sure source of Russian disinformation. Her ex-husband orchestrated that. But of course, she is politically unbiased and neutral, right? Oh, so here's the fun part about Bezos. Here's Bezos running around. Look how happy he is. There you go. There you go, Jeffrey. So happy that he sent 5 or 6 morons up into space for 1 second. And it really wasn't even space. That's a hole, Jeff. There you go. Oh, I'm so happy. And Katy Perry comes out and kisses the ground because you were in space for 2 seconds? It's not even space. It's what's called, not outer space, but subspace, not even real space. There he is. It's an absolute joke. Let's parallel that with the Elon Musk SpaceX Falcon equipment and the rescue of astronauts with that. Let's compare. Let's hear Elon Musk rescuing with this. There we go. Democrat Party versus the Trump administration. All right, let's go. Talking about our opposition right now. Here's our opposition section of the show. Carly Bonet video. Here's what Pelosi made during the COVID times. Play it for me.
Pelosi owns a hotel up in Napa. I think it's a hotel. Yeah. And she has had this one property that has made $100,000, lost $100,000. And you all have to file this every year. And in it, you have your income. Made $100K, lost $100K, made $100K, lost $100K. The year that COVID happened, they made $5 million plus in profit. And this is income. It's not necessarily loans or anything. This is income. You lose $100K, you make $100K, COVID happens, the loans go out, your business now makes $5 million. Year after that, you go back down to making $100K, and then making $100K, losing $100K.
So her net gain is $5 million from COVID. Simple as that. She has, and again, how do you own a hotel when you make $174,000 a year? But somehow she does. And then that hotel makes $100,000 one year, next year loses $100,000. Next year makes $100,000, next year loses $100,000, probably just from investment or whatever else and upkeep. So loses $100,000, and then suddenly when you get a COVID quote unquote loan that they never paid back, sounds like a Biden loan from a foreign country, i.e. China. Give me China, Aaron.
China.
From China, you get the Chinese loan to Hunter Biden that never have to pay back. I never heard of what isn't that what's called a gift? And then suddenly Pelosi. This is just one of them. I mean, we could go into 5 hours worth of tracking Nancy Pelosi's financial transactions. But in COVID, she gets a $5 million PPP loan. And that's the first time, I'm assuming that, because suddenly she, during COVID times, makes $5 million. And she's receiving COVID funds to sustain a hotel that loses and gains $100,000 per year. So breaks even over a decade. And suddenly makes $5 million in 2021. Amazing, isn't it? It's as if it was all pandemic. right? All right, MAGA X Times Daily News. This may shed some light. This is Lindy Lee, who's turned on the Democrats now. She's been the most annoying Twitter account on the planet. This may shed some light on who was actually running the Biden White House. Play it for me.
She did a conference call that morning telling people that we would stay the course, that they would stay the course. And so she had only like a minute heads up that the announcement was coming. And I can't stress enough how high up Anita Dunn was. She was basically part of the Council of Presidents. Dave, we didn't have a president in the past 4 years. We had a council of these unelected people that you've never even heard of. And they're Anita Dunn, Mike Donnellan, and Steve Ricchetti. 3 of them were running the country. Most Americans, I would say maybe like 1%, if that, have heard of them. Right?
So just to be clear, you don't know who was in the room when he made that final decision, if we're to believe
Steve Ricchetti, Mike Donnellan, and his family.
Oh, so you do know.
Yeah, I'm just saying that Nancy Pelosi wasn't there on that day, yeah.
Got it.
And
okay,
by the time, they hated her so much. They continue to hate her so much. It's just, I don't think it's something that can be amended at this point.
Not much to go over here. I just wanted to shed some light as it comes out who is actually running our country over the last 4 years. So things are in the opposition section of the show. So things that a Democrat is for is importing I wrote a little list here, importing MS-13 members, continuing waste, fraud, and abuse, slaughtering the unborn, burning and vandalizing Tesla. Now let's ask this now. So be a Democrat, you would obviously speak out. You would obviously denounce violence, wouldn't you? Let's go to 2 straight videos. We'll play these 2 in a row, guys. Paul A. Sapula video is the second one. Adam Bourgeois is the second video. Let's watch and see if Democrats will actually denounce violence. Play it for me.
Senator, what's your opinion of the violence against Tesla, their products? What are your thoughts on that? Do you denounce the violence against Tesla products and dealerships and cars in the streets?
I can't talk about Tesla, but Elon Musk is a disaster for America, and America knows it. Look at Wisconsin.
Will you condemn the Hamas flag that was flown outside the U.S. Congress last Saturday during Free Palestine protests?
I condemn the smug that's on your face.
So you don't want to condemn the Hamas flag?
Condemn the smug face.
All right, thank you.
So it's just, we know where they stand, right? I mean, that's what we need to know. Now, so I've already heard my list. Here's my next on the list. There are 4. This is what it means to be a Democrat in 2025, importing MS-13 members, continuing waste, fraud, and abuse, slaughtering the unborn, burning and vandalizing Teslas. Here's another one. Arresting parents for using the wrong pronouns. This lives with TikTok video. Play it for me.
When determining custody cases, is the parent refusing to call a child by the chosen new gender identity? Alicia Acuna is for us in Denver now. Alicia.
Hi, Harris. This Colorado House bill, if signed into law as written, would mean if a parent misgenders their child, meaning refers to them by their gender at birth or dead names, calling them by their old name, it could be considered a form of coercive control, and that could impact custody decisions. From the bill summary, quote, a court shall consider reports of coercive control when determining the allocation of parental responsibilities in accordance with the best interests of the child. One of the sponsors of this bill says this is about protecting the child's best interests and the rights of parents who support the child's gender identity. House Republicans in the minority here call it misguided and a threat to parental rights.
I believe it's misguided. It fundamentally oversteps the proper role of government. It threatens parental rights. It raises serious constitutional issues. This is not protecting children. It's weaponizing the courts against parents.
And this is how a Democratic lawmaker responded to a complaint that family rights groups not associated with LGBTQ rights were not given more of a say.
We heard from groups that called trans community members groomers and pedophiles. I will call those groups hateful. I will compare that to saying it's like asking someone working on civil rights legislation to consult with white supremacist groups.
This bill now goes to the state Senate before heading to Colorado Governor Jared Polis's.
You have to love the parallels of the Democratic Party because they call it like McCarthyism, which by McCarthyism wasn't bad, by the way, and that's just another lie. I have a giant expose called "It Is All Lies." I have a giant expose right here on Tina Peters. And speaking of what's going on in Colorado, it's so thick I won't have time to get to it tonight. I can't believe it's already 10:05. I thought it was like 9:07 right now. But anyway, but here in the state of Colorado, if you imagine it, you might just have to move out of the state because it's like I said, it's all about one agenda. I try not to lapse too far into this, but it's all about one agenda, which is to leverage you into one world commerce system. If you watch the podcast, you have this memorized. It's all about that. Listen, whether you believe the Bible or not, it's going to happen. I'm telling you, it's going to happen. He causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their forehead, and that no one may buy or sell except one who has the mark of the name of the beast or the number of his name. And we saw that with the COVID passports coming out. You saw it. You couldn't buy, sell, trade, or travel without your Excelsior Pass, your Green Pass, your ArriveCan app, whatever it may be. In Australia, New Zealand, China, Canada, New York City, Israel, all of the European Union couldn't buy, sell, trade, or travel without a vaccine passport. That's the point of it all. And people always wonder, so the point, what you're seeing is the implementation or the attempt at the implementation of this agenda to leverage you into a one world commerce system with a singular access point controlled by people like the legislature in Colorado. And there's many, many different tactics to usher in this agenda, whether it's CBDC, whether it's social credit systems, whether it's the climate hoax, whether it's a pandemic, whatever it is. And I always say transgenderism and gun grabbing and lawlessness and everything else to get you to run to government for help. But it's all to leverage you into a one world commerce system with a singular access point to all commerce. Well, it won't matter because I own gold. Gold will be gone then. It'll be central bank digital currency, which is set to be released by the entire European Union in October of this year. By the way, pay close attention to that. The state of Montana just outlawed CBDC. That's something to rejoice at. But people probably wonder, how could transgenderism be a part of this? It's all about leverage. Leveraging you into a one world commerce system with a single access point controlled by totalitarian leftist Nazis. And you will comply or you don't go to the doctor. You will comply or you don't go to the grocery store. You will comply or you have no power at your house. You have no food. You have nothing. Your kids die. Whatever it is, that's the point of it all. That's never going to happen. You don't believe the book. You need to believe the Bible. Stop believing anything else over the Bible. Believe what the Bible says, because the Bible is the only one that's actually ever come true. Not the Book of Mormon, not the Hindus, certainly not the Koran or Islamic. Only the Bible. They get transgenderism as a leverage point where you will call your son. You sat there and you watched your son born, and you knew when they spun him around and they said, oh my, I've got myself a boy, because there's Mr. Dangles. There it is. Or lack thereof, and now I've got a girl. Whatever it is, you know what it was. And in the state of Colorado, they will propagandize and indoctrinate and brainwash your children in school and tell your son he's a daughter and tell your daughter that she's a son. And if you don't agree with that delusion, they can take your kids and arrest you. See how they leverage you? They leverage it. Now you know that. So, okay, I'll comply. Who wants their kids to be taken away? Now, I'll never comply. But a lot of other people, we saw the level of compliance and capitulation in 2020, 2021, and 2022, and even in 2023, and even still now when I go to an airport and see idiots walking around with masks on, and I still see idiots driving alone in cars with N95s on. I mean, I wish I was still a cop. I'd find a reason to write them a ticket. Maybe, is there some kind of this local ordinance for galactic idiocy that I could write you up for? But that's the point of it all. That's the point. They'll leverage you into compliance. They'll take your kids if you don't call them by the pronoun that was assigned to them, not at birth, because there is no assignment. You are what you are. But the pronoun assigned to them by a leftard school official. I'm vacillating back and forth on where I want to go to finish this podcast. I'm going to skip this. Hey, Brent, do this. I should have done this when we were doing a video, but we're going to skip all the way up to Lara Logan. Okay. Skip all the way up to Lara Logan video. Children are singing. Skip up to that. There we go. All right, I got to do a couple of minutes on Islam. I've got to do it because I've been trying to get to this and I never get to it. So I've got to do at least a couple slides on this tonight because I'm telling you, it is a leftist tool. Although they aren't called leftists themselves, they're, again, it's so funny that totalitarian systems are called right-wing. Alt-right was Adolf Hitler. Alt-right, Adolf Hitler, he was a national socialist. How are you alt-right? And it's Muslims are almost called the exact same thing, even though they always vote left and always vote Democrat, and they have totalitarian theocracies. They're not anything but right-wing. But if we don't pay very, very close attention to what is going on, there had to be a mass crusade during the times of the Crusades because Christian countries were being conquered by Islamic armies. And they don't come in now with bullets and with tanks and with jets probably because of all their inbreeding. And that's a fact, by the way. Just pull it up. Gavin McInnes, Joe Rogan, the inbreeding stats. They aren't able to develop the way that they should be able to develop because of mass inbreeding problems in the Muslim community. Please look it up. Look up National Health Association inside of Great Britain and the rules for Pakistani quote-unquote citizens when it comes to inbreeding. Major problematic culture of inbreeding and child rape in the Muslim community, so to speak. But if we don't pay attention to what's going on in our country, because there's a massive influx of Muslims, everyone has the right. People are like, you have the right to worship any God you want in America. Agreed, but you can't violate the Constitution. But somehow Muslims are always granted exemptions to violate the Constitution or the Charter of Rights in the countries they migrate into because everybody's afraid to be called Islamophobic. So if you don't allow them to violate your laws, I mean, you look at Great Britain and now Keir Starmer covered up thousands upon tens of thousands of child rape cases that were committed by Muslim men on minor white girls because he himself is just a leftist, globalist, child sex trafficker himself. But most people, not like you and I, because you and I would speak out, but I'm saying most people won't speak out because I don't want to be called names. It's just like that in the modern church. You know, I don't want to offend anybody. I don't want to, quote unquote, turn anybody off. Listen, if the gospel turns them off, then you should still preach the gospel, preach the word, in season, out of season, reprove, rebuke, exhort with all long suffering and doctrine. That's what you're called to do. But anyway, just briefly on Islamicism, so to speak, Islamism. Laura Logan video, children are singing about chopping the heads off of infidels. What do you expect them to teach at a mosque? They're teaching Islam. Islam is a religion of peace. That's what they lie about so they can come in, slip under the radar, form their Islamic communities, and then prey on the culture that they've infiltrated. Play it for me.
When people say, oh my goodness, this Muslim American Society mosque in Philadelphia, we've uncovered videos where the children are singing about chopping the heads off of infidels. And I'm like, I got interviewed by all of a sudden these national news reporters. Can you believe it? What do you expect them to teach at a mosque? They're teaching Islam. That's part of Islam.
Can we get that video?
And did that mosque get shut down? No. Was there an FBI investigation? No. Did the Philadelphia police open an investigation? No.
You imagine if at Foundation Church we said anything like that. Well, thank goodness this is happening in America. That was America. Thank goodness it's just happening in European countries. No, we're just so much bigger that you don't notice right away. Yeah. No, we're really not that large of a country. We're dwarfed by China and dwarfed by India, but we are a large country. They say 330 million. We have far more than that, because that's from a 2006 census. But anyway, so how much is this going on? What's the proliferation rate here in America? How much is this proliferating in America? Amy Meck video. Mecca comes to Sugarland, Texas, and your leaders welcomed it. A Pakistani propagandist blacklisted by India for ties to terrorism is welcome in America. Play it for me.
At the Mecca, this is the first time in history of Sugarland that we have live azan and live transmission directly from Mecca and Medina. Is that a beautiful feeling, ladies and gentlemen? Mecca on the background. Open air, Sugarland Town Center. What a beautiful...
Now, remember now, this is, just keep it going, Aaron. Please leave the volume as is. I'll yell over it. This is Sugarland, Texas. It's not London, England. It's not Barcelona, Spain. This is Sugarland, Texas, when they're talking about their exclusive Muslim community. This is Sugarland, Texas, right here. Texas. You know, all the songs, God bless Texas. This is in Texas. All right, bring it back. Just bring it. You can go off that. Come right back to me. I got to show you this one. So how bad could it get? Well, here's a good one for you. Carlos Tercia's video. Bombshell, Texas recognized. You're going to love this, Aaron. You're going to love this, Brett.
Oh, great.
You're going to love it. You're going to love it. So Texas recognized March 23rd, just passed, as Pakistan Day. Play it for me.
Mr. Speaker, I move to suspend all necessary rules to take up and consider H.R. 32.
Members, you've heard the motion. Is there any objection? Chair is none. The rules are suspended. Following resolution, the clerk will read the resolution.
H.R. 32 by Lalani recognizing Pakistan Day at the state capitol.
Chair recognizes Dr. Lalani to explain the resolution.
Look how happy these quote-unquote conservative Republicans are to name in the state of Texas, from henceforth, March 23rd, Pakistan Day. Well, it has to end there. Carlos Tercia's video, Bombshell, Texas created resolutions to have Bangladeshi Day and Zoroastrian Day, whatever the crap that is. Play it for me.
Innovation Day, HR 404 by Bojani, Zoroastrian Day, HR 408 by Bojani, Bangladeshi Day, HR 409 by Bojani, Vasak Day.
That's Texas, everybody. And the Republicans are gaveling it all in with glee because they get to be accepting as Republicans. Aaron just sent me I didn't have any idea what Zoroastrian is. Zoroastrian is an ancient Iranian religion that now has its own day in Texas. See, it sneaks in the middle of the night. Sneaks in. Hey, Aaron, can you just put that photo up right there? Just put that right there. I don't have time to go. That's all I can do tonight. There's so much on the Muslim infiltration of our country. They're building. They want to build Epic City, I think it's called, in the state of Texas, where it's a Sharia zone. You can't have a Sharia zone that violates the Constitution of the United States of America. They have Sharia cops in New York City. Can't do that because it violates the Constitution of the United States of America. You want to be a Muslim, you can be a Muslim. I'm not going to stop you from being a Muslim. Go right ahead. But you cannot have Sharia law, period. So you're going to have to either renounce your religion or modify your religion, because you can't have Sharia law because that violates the Constitution. It is an invasion. And a lot of that was coming through the southern border until Donald Trump shut it down to the tune of 95%. All right, 1018. Listen, like and share. We're trying to break back through because Rumble's new advertising has popped our numbers down just a little bit, like 150 people less than what we had before. So help us like and share. Get this out to as many people as you can. We are on Facebook. We're on YouTube. We get banned all the time. Zuckerberg's in a mega amount of trouble right now with his collaborations with the Chinese government. He took down the Trump entering into UFC 314 off of Facebook for some reason. So Zuckerberg, all of his statements and all of his statements of victimization and all this by the FBI, he's lying. Nothing's changed. He's the same piece of crap he's always been. Go ahead, Aaron.
Yeah, we got banned from Facebook tonight.
Yeah, we're banned again from Facebook. We're banned all the time. What was it, Dave? Give us an explanation?
Nope.
No, we have no explanation.
I went to go live again and it said you can't do that.
Yeah, screw these people. Absolutely screw these people. Zuckerberg's a liar. But anyway, Rumble's great, but their new system of how they're putting videos on front pages hurt us a little bit. So like and share. Let's get that. There's no advertising on this podcast. There's nothing. for an hour and 19 minutes. By the time I get done talking, an hour and 21 minutes, not one commercial. You have to listen to me blather on and on. But other than that, all the rest of it's positive. All right, in the rants tonight, USA Abbey Girl, $50. Nate Dad, $50. Gucci Buckeye, $20. Hefner, $20. Producer Aaron, $10. 508 J Fisher, $1. Thank you guys so much in the rant. Thank you guys so much in the chat. Stick around for the post game. It is awesome. Back here, 9 o'clock tomorrow night, as always. God bless you guys. I love you.
Secret of the Lord is with those who fear him, and he will show them his covenant. My eyes are ever toward the Lord, for he shall pluck my feet out of the net. How many of you are sick and tired of being intertwined in that net? Well, why don't you get out then? I struggle with anxiety attacks and depression. That's just you. You're doing it. No, it's the devil. If it's the devil, you let the devil in. And most of the time, folks, and again, I don't mean to be insulting to people. Maybe a little bit I do. But it's not the devil unless you're a mega producer, because he doesn't have enough demons to cover everybody. If you're a mega producer, in other words, you're healing the sick, giving sight to the blind, and winning the lost, giving provision to the poor and the millions, it's not coming for you. It's you telling yourself it's the devil. It's just you giving into fear. You can choose that wisdom if you want.
Thank you for watching the Tom Laipply podcast. We appreciate your support. As a special thank you, when you donate $25 or more, you'll receive a free TLP mug. Sip your favorite beverage while enjoying all the insights from our episodes. Your support helps us keep bringing you current events from around the globe. Donate now to claim your mug.
I just wanted to know, where are you from?
Texas.
From America, right?
Yeah.
I just want to know, when was America great for us black people?
Right now. Tell you it's great right now.
Really?
Yeah. It ain't great for you?
No, not at all.
How?
I mean, I'm living life.
Looking good. You got clothes on. Look well fed.
But that doesn't mean
got
it's
nice,
great.
beautiful hair.
Oh, thank you.
Got your eyeliner on. You looking good. What kind of bag is that? That's a nice little bag there. You look good. America look good for you. If you were eating out of trash can, I'll tell you something different. America's a great place. I don't understand how we are not acknowledging that. It's great. Look at all these different people out here. Men, women, black, white. You will never see this much diversity anywhere else. It's the greatest place on earth. Everybody can be here and enjoy one another, disagree with each other. We have the freedom of speech, freedom to keep and bear arms. We don't have to worry about the government interfering in our lives for the most part. It's the greatest country ever. And if we don't start acknowledging that, we're going to screw up something good.
She is going to play dead.
Play dead? And then come alive, it says here.
Yes.
Play dead and come alive? Okay.
Yeah. Play dead.
That was good.
Play dead.
Oh, man. Yeah. There you go. Oh, buddy.
Alive.
He's fine. Okay. That was great. Thank you very much, Bailey. Thank you very much, Mike. Let's take one more look here in the slow motion. Here's Bailey playing dead. And hit the switch. Clunk. Good night, everybody. It's Mike Bauer and Bailey.
I must be pretty weak-willed because all it took was falling in love with a man, and now I'm like, not really. I mean, I'm a feminist, but like, kind of. I don't really need my maiden name. I don't really need it. I like your last name better anyway. Like, I'll just take that. I know he can do his own laundry. I know that he can clean the house, but I want to do it for him. I want to cook all his meals. I want to make sure he's getting all his whole grains, all his vegetables. I want to make sure he's getting all that protein. He has not asked any of this of me. It just kind of naturally kicks in. Like, these instincts just kind of come out of like, oh, now I have to take care of you when you're sick. Oops, I made you breakfast and it fits all of your dietary requirements. My bad. I think I got possessed by a housewife. Is that what happens?
I guess feminism has its limits.
This little girl was walking to the car when she suddenly noticed someone frightening following her. The doorbell camera captured a terrifying moment when a little girl was walking to the car, and suddenly something unexpected happened.
Mommy, they're following me! Mommy, they're following me!
Someone suddenly appeared and started following the little girl, terrifying her. Panicked, she ran back, calling for her mother. Hearing her daughter's cries, the mother quickly rushed out to help, only to face an unexpected encounter with the stalkers.
I told you to get in the car! Get in the car!
The mother couldn't stop laughing when she realized that the stalkers following her daughter were just a flock of ducks.
Get in the car!
Tell me, what do you think about this?
Uruzão. Aí, garoto! Sabe muito, hein? Sabe muito, hein? Ei, cara! Uhul! E aí, Uru? Se garante, hein, cara?